Well, the old Gravely zero turn is broken again. It's very old and I've fixed it many times, but I refuse to give up on it. So we've got a problem on the mower deck. The welds are breaking right there. So we're gonna have to take this all apart, clean it up, weld it again. And also that pulley, the idler pulley over here, you can see it's touching the deck right there. Something's bad wrong there too. So I gotta work on that. So we're gonna take this thing all apart today and weld it with a new inverter welder I just purchased for a good price. Work. But step one is get another cup of coffee, because my Costa Rica cup is empty. That will never do. Okay. So we're gonna take this Gravely tractor apart and get the deck off and see if we can weld it up. So this ought to be fun. Step one is get these clips out. Ooh, they're tight. Haha. Clip one. It's quite a few. Have to come out. Floating mount. Alright. Comes out. That one's out. Oops. I need parts flying away. Alrighty. It's free. Now I gotta get it out of there. Oops. Forgot the belt. You gotta take the belt off. This belt's shot anyway, so ow. There's always something. Always something. I see. It has took a beating, but it will be good as new here soon enough. Whew, blades are in bad shape. gonna have to replace the blades. Can't sharpen these anymore. Rats. It's only money. So we gotta grind off, get down to some clean metal, or the weld won't be any good. So clean this up, and then we gotta bang it all back into shape. This thing, oh, jeez, that's bad. We'll figure out what to do with that. Sometimes, to get stuff done, you just gotta go Neanderthal. That's what this is gonna take. Yeah! Love it. Take this bearing off. Bearing's in bad shape, my God. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Well, it started to rain, so I had to put the pop-up tent thing up so we can get this project done. So next I'm going to open up the welding equipment. We'll set it up. This one can run off 120 volts. I've chosen not to do that. It's dual voltage. So we'll bring this welder up. Very small little unit, but I've already tested it. Incredible. So I have not actually welded anything with it, but I just did some test arcs. Pretty impressive. This one's by Deko, I think is the name of it. And it's an inverter type welder. Comes with 240 volt plug, but it's only 14 gauge cord, so it does not require a lot of power. And it also comes with the adapter that allows you to run this on 120 volts. You plug that in and there's your 120 volts. You'll actually get a lot better power out of 240 and stronger welding abilities, which is what I've chosen to do. And I had the ability to hook that up to my main panel, so I did that with a 20 amp breaker. And we're going to get this deck welded. So the kit included the auto darkening helmet. This one, the brand is Yes Welder. Never heard of it, but I did test it. It works great. All the controls are on the inside to the speed of the darkening, the amount of darkening, sensitivity, and all that. And it has a permanent battery. And on the side here, it has the other adjustment. And it comes with the cables. Very small ground cable. I might cut that off and put a larger, heavier duty one on later, but good enough. And this part's fine, the electrode side, and then it has looks like bronze connectors. It's not copper. So we'll connect this into the welder. Have to be sure you get the right one. Hopefully you can see it. Positive, negative. So this one, this is the positive. So I'm going to lock it in on the positive side here. It's a twist lock. That's it, ready to go. The other one is the negative, same thing, twist and lock. This is the adjustment for the amount of current. So it has a cooling fan on the back there. We'll show all this in a minute. For the same price, it came with, I ordered a wire brush for cleaning rust off of metal and whatnot, chipping hammer for getting the flux off of the welds, heavy duty welding gloves, and a whole box of 6013 welding rods. Kind of multi-purpose. So all of this total cost was under $300. Now I did run some heavy 8-gauge cable. Doesn't have to be 8, it could have been 10, but I already had the cable, so I used it. I drilled a hole through the bottom of my box here, and I ran the wires up. Hopefully you can see that. Up through, up to here, and I put a 20 amp breaker in. 20 amp breaker so far has been fine. I don't want to go too high. And then I had to purchase at Home Depot this 220 volt. This is a 50R, NEMA 50R. There's the plug. Needs to get some light on it. And that matches the one that came from the factory. And just, you know, I had to buy a few of these Romex connectors. Very simple to wire up. The instructions are there. So we're gonna go plug this in and get started. So we're gonna get plugged up here. I'll probably do some video of trying to weld on 120 volts also. So on the front here, of course, we've got the current control, and we'll start off low and work our way up, whatever gets a nice weld. It has a over temperature light here if it overheats, and it has current electricity problems. It's going to have a light come on there. On the back we have our power switch and the cooling fan, and again, this is only 14 gauge cord. It's very light. There's a twist tie on here, we don't need that. This cord all opened up here. So here's our bad spots. This entire section here broke loose, which is incredible to me that all broke loose, but we're gonna fix it. And then over here, this has cracks and split. We'll get that all cleaned up and welded. So it's incredible that this all broke after all the heavy metal I welded in there before, but it sure did. Over here has been welded before by the person who sold me this old unit. I bought this tractor for $100 and fixed it up, put some fresh paint. After we're done this repair, I'm going to clean it and paint it, paint the deck, but I'm going to clean the tractor again. Part of the secret to welding is a good ground. Right now there's no good place to ground this thing. I have to create that ground right now. Then we got good clean metal. We'll paint that all up again later. Just gotta have clean metal, that's it. Now, open up these rods. I'm gonna leave them open. We're gonna need several of them. Go through the rods pretty quick. Power's off right now, so it's safe to go ahead and clamp this in. Just the rod. This is pretty thin 6013s and kind of an all-purpose. 6011s will work too, but this is a small welder, so I'm going with some lighter rods. We'll turn this on. Fans on. I'm gonna start. I'm starting at 65 amps. I don't know if that's high enough. Let's find out. Get the helmet on, of course. You don't ever want to strike an arc without the helmet on because it's bright enough to cause retina damage. Okay, let's see what happens. Beautiful. Absolutely phenomenal. That's only on 65 amps. It'll go up to 150. Unbelievable. Beautiful little weld. That is so awesome. I love it. Oops, a little thin there. I gotta cut the power down for that. A little too thin on this side, so the power's gotta go down a tad, but that's okay. See, this rod's getting a little too short, so we're gonna change it out. So the safest way, when the power is on, is to, my dad used to lay his in his helmet. Just don't touch the end where the metal is. If you hang on to the flux, should be fine. Oh, knees off the ground. Always a good idea. It's not the kind of power that generally kills people, but you don't want to play around with it either. What I'm doing is filling in that hole with just weld because I'm too lazy to go find some metal to lay. I can just lay a piece of metal on there and weld it in, but I don't want to. So cracks and splits over here I'm going to weld. This metal's a little thicker, so I got to turn the power back up. I'm trying to rush the weld a little bit there. Probably should slow down a tad. Another rod. Ah, forgot my gloves. You don't have to wear gloves. You can weld naked if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're gonna get some serious UV burns. Not to mention physical burns. Okay, we'll touch up these last few cracks. They're a little too hot. Judas. Okay. I'm hoping I'm not messing up my driveway. I just had it sealed. I kind of forgot about that. That looks okay. Start getting into very thin metals like automotive metals, fenders, you know, real thin gauge. Stick welder's probably not your choice. You'd want to use a wire welder, preferably one that uses argon gas or something like that. So nice clean welds. You're able to turn the power down quite a bit on those and get those thin gauge metals welded up, but this is fairly thick. Once you get that flux off, you can see a nice clean weld here. Yeah, you can see it's a really nice. Bring the camera in closer. Really nice welds. Okay, we're going to cut some pieces of metal. I'm really low on metal scrap. If you do welding, you don't want to throw away even these little pieces like this. A lot of times you would just throw those little chunks away, but that's going to save the day here. I got to cut it. I have a little portable bandsaw here. It used to be my dad's when he was alive. A portable bandsaw can be a little dangerous, so you definitely want to use pliers to make your cut. I'm going to cut off some pieces of this to weld over there. Love this thing. If it were easy, nobody'd buy anything new ever again. Alright, so it's a little blobby. I'm gonna have to grind it first. Rats. I'll put some weight on top of it. Just so we can get a corner. Use my head here. As soon as we get a little bit of start for me. Twisting. Did the welder go to sleep? There we go. We're back. It's not going anywhere now. Where are you going? Nowhere. Oh yeah, I like that better. Alright, let's get it in there. The neighbors playing around with their guns again, wasting ammo. Okay, 120 volt on the Deko Inverter Welder. Put my ground back on. Got a good bite. Start with a fresh rod. And we'll do a little touch-up welding. And we'll see if I can tell the difference between 220 volt and 240 volt, I should say, and 120 volt. It's actually welding fine. I'm impressed. 120 volts. Breaker didn't trip. A little bit of a hole here yet. That's right. Wow. Shouldn't open the helmet too quickly. Well, that is just mind-boggling. 120 volt. I can tell that there's definitely been a little bit of a drop in power. I should be able to compensate by turning the amp output up a tad. But it still made a nice bead there. I cannot be more impressed with this tiny little inverter welder. I'm using a 12 gauge cord, by the way. I mean, I wouldn't play around with a little cheap 16 gauge cord. I mean, nobody should use 16 gauge cords for anything but Christmas lights. Other than that, it's not really a great hard on your tools when they don't have enough power, so you want to use at least 14 gauge cords. It costs a little bit more, but well worth it. And in certain cases 12 gauge like I'm using now, and in some cases 10 gauge cords, which I use for my generator. Okay, I'm having a little trouble on the heavier sections of metal getting a good arc going, so I'm going to have to crank the power up a little bit more yet. Okay, it's at 93 amps. So I see now on the lower voltage, that's when you would probably be approaching the high end of the amp output of this machine to get the same arc. There we go. Now we're talking. Beautiful. Did a nice weld. So pretty much double what I was on 240 volt. I had to double the current output. I was at just under 40. I'm a little over double at 93 amps. This is fairly heavy metal though. I mean, this is a 1/4 inch thick here, and then the deck metal is about an 1/8 inch thick. We'll try a few more arcs here on 120 volts. Yeah, I love it. Just filled in a pretty good hole there. Very impressed. Even on 120 volts, this thing's well worth the money. That's good to know. If you don't have the ability to get 240 volt feed, you're still in business. It has not tripped the breaker on a 15 amp breaker. Bella, you gonna help me put this together? Alright. Well, we got a cart for the welder to put together and make this thing a little more easy to carry around. Okay, it comes with a couple of pretty sturdy looking wheels. It's one of the handles for the cart. The wheel shaft. It's got a bag of caster wheels. Instructions. We don't need those. Probably need those. And the cart shelves. Feels like hardware. Uh-oh. Got a bent shelf. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Alright. We'll fix it. You pay little, you get little, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Right, Bella? Right, girl? You right? Yeah. Alright, let's do it. This piece here is upright. Putting the top shelf on now. It's a good skinny cart, perfect for a little inverter welder. Won't take up too much room in the garage. So this is a cord wrap they give you. That's nice to have. I'll bolt that on the side here. Very nice thing to have, a little cord holder. I guess it can bolt on either side. Well, it has one for each side. Oh, excellent. One for each side. Hopefully you can see all this. So these supports come back here according to the instructions. There it is, all complete. Got the welder on there. It's awesome. That's just perfect. Down below, I threw the welding gloves in there, and there's the adapter cord that comes with the Deko Welder that will allow it to run on 120 volts. We'll keep that under there if we need it. I'm running on 240 volt as a rule. This has plenty of space for welding rods. I got a wire brush, a chipping hammer. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting. It's quite awesome. Very pleased with this cart. For the price, not bad. What do you think, Bella? What do you think, girl? What do you think? What do you think? Good girl. Good girl. We're gonna go for a walk here in a little bit. All right. Clean this up. Get the box and everything, and we'll got this thing ready to go if we have any welding projects.